Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to take a three-colour observation using the Liverpool telescope. But we're going to do this through the GCSE option. So the first thing to do is to make sure that you're logged into the NSO. So if you can see a login link at the top, we need to be clicking it and very quickly logging in. And once you're logged in, you'll see that that link has now changed to sort of my account. You should see your name and the account. But for the purpose of this video, we want to take an observation, so we need the Go Observing section of the website. So I'm going to go ahead and click Go Observing. And as you can see, it takes me to a screen with various options for which the Liverpool telescope could observe on our behalf. But at the bottom we see more advanced options. Now we're going to focus on the GCSE astronomy option. It allows us to observe all of the above, but it allows us to put our own settings and make choices for ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click GCSE astronomy. And as you can see, we've got options for lunar features. We've got we can observe a nebula or a galaxy, but this one at the bottom says three-colour observation. So that's the one we're going to be using for the purpose of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it's given me a very quick confirmation screen. It's just explaining that the program will take 3 observations through 3 different filters, which we will then combine in LT image to create our 3-colour observation. So we're going to go ahead and click continue because that is what we want to do. Okay, and the first screen is asking us about the dates. So when does it want us to start trying to observe? And by default it will try this very evening. But you may want to change that because you may be planning ahead and you don't want it to start observing until perhaps next month or the month after. But whatever the date you want to start trying, enter here. The second question asks us how long do we want to try? Now it's very tempting here to click a day. If I only give the telescope a day, I'll get my observation back quicker. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. What you're doing here is saying how long you want the telescope to keep trying. The telescope will always try and do it as quickly as it possibly can anyway. So by selecting a month, if the conditions are right tonight, it will take the observation tonight. You don't need to worry. What you're doing is giving the telescope a margin for error. So if you only select a day and the weather is horrific tonight and the telescope can't open, then you're going to miss out. It's not going to be able to observe and it will stop and you'll have to re-input. So wherever possible, try and give it as long as you possibly can. But it might be that you only want to take an observation tonight or not at all. So the option is there. But for this video, I'm going to select a month. And then I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so the next screen asks us essentially which object do we want to observe, and as you can see it's giving me a range of objects, quite a long list, and we just need to select the one that we want to observe. So for the purpose of this video we're going to try and obtain an image of the Skull Nebula. And by clicking the Skull Nebula, it's now asking me about the 3 individual observations. So as you can see, it's already selected the 3 filters. So the first observation will be in the red filter, the second one in the green, and the third in the blue. But it's also asking me how long do I want those exposure times to be. Now by default, it will set them all to 30 seconds. I would advise that you keep the exposure time the same on all 3, but it doesn't necessarily need to be 30 seconds. It could be anything up to 120 seconds. That's a decision that you need to make. Obviously, the longer that you expose, the more light the telescope will pick up, the more detail your image will get. But obviously, there is a trade-off here because a longer observation obviously takes more telescope time, the conditions need to be correct for longer, so there is less chance of your observation being successful. So it's a bit of a trade-off, you need to make those decisions. But for this video, I'm just going to leave 30 seconds on each and the filters as they are. And I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. Okay, and now it's asking me about the sky brightness and the seeing conditions. So again, these are options and choices that you need to make. Do you want the moon to be up? Does it need to be a really dark night for your observation? It will depend on what you're observing. Obviously, if you select bright, there is more chance that your observation can be taken. If you select dark, it's only going to be able to take that when the moon is down. So it's about giving the telescope as much chance, but making sure that your conditions are correct for your observation. So for this video, I'm going to select dark because I would like the moon to be down. And then seeing conditions, you can tick All, as you can see, the default is all. If I'm happy with poor seeing conditions for my observation, I just want a very quick observation, I don't really mind about the quality, then I would give it that option because there's more chance of the telescope being able to take my observation. However, if I need to get a really clear image, then I'm going to have to select good as the only seeing conditions, which means if this evening the seeing conditions are average, but everything else is okay, your observation still won't go ahead because you have selected only to take the observation when the seeing conditions are good. These are choices again that you need to make for yourself and whether or not it matters for whatever you're observing. But for this video, I need the moon to be down and I need a nice clear image, so I'm going to select good. And I'm going to hit continue. Okay, and then it takes me to a sort of confirmation screen. And it's showing me my 3 observations. So I've got 30 seconds in the red filter, 30 seconds in the green filter, and 30 seconds in the blue filter. It's saying that the moon needs to be down and the seeing needs to be good. It's confirming what we've already entered. But this information over here is critical. This chart shows us the likelihood of our observation going ahead and is dependent on what objects are visible in the night sky at this time of year. And as you can see at the bottom, there is a key that corresponds to this. So the dark areas mean that there is a poor chance. So all the way up until the start of February, it's completely dark, which means that there is virtually no chance of me getting this observation back. But just after the start of February, there is a short period where there is a slightly lighter. It's still a poor chance. It's certainly not up in the good and excellent area. So there is only a slim chance that my observation will be taken. Again, you need to make those decisions as to whether to go ahead or not. It might be that this object is simply not visible during this month and I might need to wait till later in the year. It might be that I need to select a different object to study, but those options are for you to decide. But in this case, I'm willing to take a chance that I might get my observation at the start of February. I know that I've got a bit of time. If it doesn't observe anything, then I can resubmit next month. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Submit Observation. And that's it. As you can see, I've now been given a unique code. My observation has gone to the telescope, and our observation is hopefully going to come back to us in the next week or 2. So if I go observing and just mouse over and go to my observations, I'll see a list of all the observations that I've requested in the past. And as you can see, right at the top of that list is our new observation request for the Skull Nebula. It's a 3-colour observation. It's been submitted, and very soon this will be changing to sent to the telescope. And hopefully, once we've had our observation taken, it will be ready to download and we can then do some science with it. But until that's been observed, obviously the observed section remains blank and we play a waiting game. If we decide we no longer want that observation to go ahead, we can click the little trash can and delete it. Alternatively, if it comes back that we weren't successful, as we saw that the chance was quite slim and it doesn't observe within our month, if we want to try again next month with exactly the same settings, we can avoid going through the lengthy process by simply clicking the little curled arrow, which basically means resubmit. That will appear here once the telescope has tried and failed. So you'll then be able to just hit the resubmit and it will put all the same details in and ask for the telescope to try again next month. But that's it. You're all done. Thanks for watching.